mix of classical and literature, but not sacred writings, films, radio, and television programs, ballets, operas, instrumental music, but not if identified simply by form, number, and key. Paintings, sculpture, and names of ships and aircraft are all italicized in the text. In quotation marks, the title of articles, essays, short stories, short poems, songs, chapters of books, and published works such as dissertations, lectures and speeches, courses, and individual episodes of radio and television programs are included in quotation marks. Titles within titles. If a title indicated by quotation marks appears within an italicized title, the quotation marks are retained. If a title indicated by the italicizing appears within a title enclosed in quotation marks, the italicizing is retained. Exceptions. These conventions of italicizing titles or placing them within quotation marks do not apply to sacred writings, including all the books and versions of the Bible, to series, editions, and societies, to descriptive words or phrases or conventional titles used instead of an actual title, and to parts of a book, none of which is underlined or put within quotation marks. Frequent use of a title. If a title is to be mentioned often in the text after the first full reference in the text or in a note, use only a shortened, if possible, familiar or obvious title or abbreviation. Quotations. All the quotations, whether a word to phrase, sentence, paragraph, or more, should correspond exactly to the original source in spelling, capitalization, and interior punctuations. We also have poetry. Unless unusual emphasis is required, verse quotation of a single line or part of a line should be incorporated within quotation marks as part of the text. Quotations of 2 or 3 lines may also be placed in the text within quotation marks, but within the lines separated by a slash, with a space on each side of the slash. Prose. Prose quotations of not more than 4 lines in the typescript, unless special emphasis is required, should always be incorporated within quotation marks as part of the text. Ellipsis. When omitting a word, phrase, sentence, or paragraph from a quoted passage, readers should be guided by 2 principles. 1. Fairness to the author being quoted, and number 2, clarity and correct grammar in their own writing. Interpolations. The writer's own comments or explanations within quotations are enclosed in square brackets, not parentheses. Use seat, thus, so, sparingly square brackets and without quotation marks or an exclamation point to assure readers that the quotation is accurate, although the spelling or logic might lead them to doubt it. Unless the writer states otherwise, the reader will assume that whatever is italicized in the quotation was italicized in the original. Names of persons. General remarks. Since there are exceptions to almost any rule, good judgment based on knowledge of common usage is essential in dealing with persons' names. Titles. These are the example of formal titles. These are usually omitted in references to persons living or dead. Authors' names. It is common and acceptable to use simplified names of famous authors. Purpose of writing. Purpose of writing is a process that involves at least 4 distinct steps: rewriting, drafting, revising, and editing. So this is known as a recursive process. While you are revising, you might have returned to the rewriting step to develop and expand your ideas. So in pre-writing is anything you do before you write a draft of your document. It includes thinking, taking notes, talking to others, brainstorming, outlining, and gathering information. Although pre-writing is the first activity you engage in, generating ideas is an activity that occurs throughout the writing process. We also have drafting. Drafting occurs when you put your ideas into sentences and paragraphs. Here you concentrate upon explaining and supporting your ideas fully. Revising. Punctuation is the key to effective documents. Here you think more deeply about your readers' needs and expectations. The document becomes a reader-centered. At this stage, you also refine your prose, making each sentence as concise and accurate as possible. Make connections between ideas and explicit and clear. Last but not the least, we have editing. Check out for such things as grammar, mechanics, and spelling. The last thing you should do before printing your documents is to spell. Check it. Don't edit your writing until the other steps in the writing process are complete.